All right, everyone. Welcome once again to the Faces of Business. I am your host, Damon Pistolka, and I am so excited for our guest today because we have none other than Thomas Ellis, sales coach extraordinaire, chief sales coach, business coach, LinkedIn trainer at EWC Consultants. Today, we're going to be talking about using sales boot camp knowledge to help your business grow. Thomas, thanks for being here today.
Damon, it's a pleasure coming back one more time to do it again. Let's go.
Yes. So much fun, man. So much fun. So, Thomas, let's start out like you always like to. For those people that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, I am a sales coach and trainer, and my mantra is I help small businesses by teaching them an easy and simple, repeatable sales process that gets them awesome results. And I basically teach them how to be helpful to prospects and not sell them anything. I tell people I haven't sold anything in 100 years. I help people by solving the problems that they have. And that's what I do for many small businesses and a lot of associations.
Nice. So as you've been talking, okay, let's just back up a little bit to this easy, simple, repeatable sales process. Now that just got my ears going because I don't think of sales as being easy, simple, or repeatable.
And most people don't. Most people that I talk to think of it as a very hard process and oh my God, I got to do this and this. Thomas, I can't do this. And what I break it down to them is very simply this. At the end of the day, sales is nothing more than a bunch of great conversations with the same person over a period of time. And that's all sales really is. The more you and I talk, the more I understand what your problems are, the more you get to trust and like me. And if I'm able to solve and help you solve those business problems, you and I are going to do business. It's natural. I don't have to force anything. It's just going to be a natural fit. So that's easy because we all can talk. We all know how to have conversations.
Yes.
The caveat there is you have to be able to ask questions that help you understand what the problems are and the problems that they want to fix urgently. Not, things that you want to fix now, things that you want to fix in the next 3 to 6 months. Not things, I know I need to fix that, but we've been doing this way for 20 years, and that's not a big deal. We've been living with it. No, I need to understand what problems, if you don't fix now, can really have a negative impact on your bottom line. And so we talk about easy. Easy is just having the conversation. But mentally, I have to have the mindset to say, I need to ask questions in a conversational manner that get this person to open up and tell me what their problems are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like how you said their current pain, not current problems, not one that they like, I'd like to lose 100 pounds or whatever, 50 pounds. That's like, that maybe someday. But it's like, I got to take care of this now.
Exactly. And that's the one thing. So if most of my clients that I talk to, as soon as they hear a problem, they want to jump on that problem and say, hey, I can fix that. And the customer goes, well, I don't really want that fixed. Right?
Yeah.
We can limp along, but that's not the problem. And then they get stuck. Right? They don't know how to move the conversation. So I always try to coach my clients as to we have to work on the urgency, right? What's the urgent issue that if they found somebody to fix it, they would act on it immediately?
Yeah, that's a great question. If you know, what is it they have? If they found somebody to fix it, they would move on right away. Yeah.
Otherwise, you end up having a lot of conversations and people say, send me a proposal, and
Yeah.
then there's no deal because you didn't solve the urgent problem, and the price to fix the non-urgent problem is too expensive.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Because they're not ready to spend money on the not urgent problems because they know they got to spend money on the urgent problems.
Exactly. And so we need to help people to really have the conversations and ask questions and understand what their mission is, what their mission is. And one thing that I've done this year is I've been teaching my clients to use AI. And what I'm finding, because I'm using it too, is that now, right, I was working with a couple of credit unions, and I would ask AI, what are the top 5 challenges that BD reps are having in the credit unions? And it gave me the 5 things, and I was able to have conversations with leadership at some credit unions to basically say, listen, I've been doing some research. I work with a couple of credit unions, and as far as the business development, these are the 5 challenges that they've told me and I've done research on. Can I go over these with you to see which ones resonate with you? And also, what of these 5, what do you need to fix like immediately?
Yeah.
And Damon, I got to tell you, that changed the whole conversation.
Yes. Yes. Because you're showing them that you're trying to understand their situation. Yeah, that's a great way to start a conversation.
And now when you do that, not only do you know what the problem is and they identify what they want to solve, you have a service that can solve that problem.
Mm-hmm.
So you match up the problems that they have as an industry, right, to your services that you provide for each one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now you can have great conversations about, hey, if this is your top priority that you need to be fixed, the next question I have for you is, would you be willing to look at an outside vendor to help you solve that problem?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they say yes, then the conversations moves on. But if they say no, we do that internally, then you want to ask why. But you always have to get their approval to say, you know what? If I can find somebody to solve this problem, yes, we will go outside to do that. Because I've had many clients who have great conversations and they get all the way to the proposal stage and everything, and that they find out that, we don't do outside vendors, right? We'll either fix it in house. So you wasted all that time,
Mm-hmm.
having 2-3 meetings to figure out that they. So I try to train people. You need to get that information at the first meeting.
Yeah. That's a huge thing. It's a huge point because you don't know. You don't know. And somebody could be hoping that could change. Somebody could be fishing for maybe their answer. There's a whole lot of reasons why that question's important. Yeah, that's good stuff. So as you're working through these conversations then, so let's talk a little bit, because we are here today to talk about sales boot camp. I can talk sales with you a long time and we'll work back into it. But I first want to say we have Marius stop by to say hello. Thanks for dropping a comment in, Marius.
Hi, Marius.
Appreciate it. Hope you're having a great day. Thank you. If you're out there today, you got some questions for Thomas, go ahead and drop them in the comments and we'll get them answered. So sales boot camps. Now you've been doing sales boot camps for a while. I'm sure you attended some before. What do you think the sales boot camp environment or the boot camp environment really helps someone that wants to get in and maybe make some change in their sales?
So it does several things. So it's kind of like basic training. I think of boot camp. I think of basic training, preseason football, practice, right? Hey, we're going to learn some new plays, but we're going to also sharpen the fundamentals, right? So boot camp, when I think of sales boot camp, I think about sharpening the fundamentals because I firmly believe that if you master the fundamentals of sales, you're going to be wildly successful. Not mediocrely, wildly successful. And nice. Here are some of the things that boot camps help you get clarity on. Number one, most small businesses and businesses in general have a lack of a clear sales process.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So they don't, and many of them wing it, right? They don't do it the same way every time. And so they don't have a prospecting, qualifying, presenting, handling. All of those things are part of the sales process. So they lack that process. They also have difficulties in generating consistent sales leads.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Why is that? Because many of them rely heavily on the word of mouth and referrals. And they really haven't identified their ICP. For those of you who don't know ICP, they really haven't identified their ideal client profile.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of winging it. Well, I got this product and I can sell it to a lot of people. That's the second thing. The other thing they struggle with is what makes them different.
Oh, yes, their unique value.
Their unique value. Why would you buy this from me?
Yeah.
And probably one of the most important things that they lack is they have poor discovery conversations, right? Because if you don't have that great discovery conversation with that client, you're going to end up proposing the wrong thing at the wrong price, and there's no deal.
Yes.
Okay? The other thing that a boot camp does is that it helps them because there's a topic in there to talk about handling objections right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to have some objections. A sale, as they used to say, a sale doesn't begin to be a sale until you have an objection. And you need to be prepared for those objections. Now, the wonderful thing about using AI is that you can get, and this is what I do with a lot of my clients, I say, tell me what objections do you hear 80% of the time? So I may be in a room with 5 to 10 sales reps. And I say, what are the objections you hear 80% of the time? And we write them on the board, right? And then I say, how do you handle those? And each one has a different way of handling those. And I'm saying, time out. As a team, we need to come up with how to respond to those objections.
Yep.
So it sounds like smooth jazz. That I'm not fumbling and bumbling all over the place. I'm saying, Mr. Customer, I'm glad you asked me that question, right? And so we need to learn out of that. Then we have to learn how to close with confidence. We have to ask for the business.
Yes.
You'll be amazed how many people, are on sales calls making great progress, but they don't ask for the business. And if you don't ask for it, as my grandmama used to say, if you don't ask, you don't know what you're going to get. So, and then they have follow-up failures, right? Because that sale that you're working on now may take 6 weeks, 2 months, 6 months. What's your follow-up process?
Yes.
You're going to develop to stay on top of this customer. So those are kind of the concepts for the boot camp. And all it is like basic training, right? Getting back to the fundamentals. Now, I've done this boot camp I just did this with a group, and this group, the average tenure of the sales team was 18 years.
Oh, wow.
Right? And you know, after the boot camp, they're like, oh my God, Thomas, I haven't been to a training like this ever. I see how if I tweak and tune, because it's a matter of tweaking and tuning things, not to blow everything up, but let's fine tune this. Let's do this a little bit differently. That group are doing extremely well. I hear from them periodically. I even have them using LinkedIn on a regular basis. Now, these are people that never use LinkedIn hardly.
Wow.
They're using the tool. They're getting results. They're getting meetings.
Nice.
Okay?
Nice.
But that's what I kind of do in the boot camps.
Yeah. Well, I think, I've written down the different stages you're talking about. One of the things that I didn't learn until somebody taught me about the importance of the sales process. I mean, once you have that in mind, and once you know, hey, I've got someone that I want to talk to just to see what's going on, that discovery call, and you know what you need to ask in that discovery call, the necessary information you need to get somehow in the conversation. That's huge, because it relieves you to really have a conversation, knowing I have these 3 things that I really need to talk with them about today. That's what it is. And the rest of it can be nice conversation. And if you don't, you're kind of all over the board with them. And maybe you're like, hey, do you want to buy what I've got? Which it really is that's not the appropriate time. It's really to learn about them in that first step. And then if there's subsequent steps, what do we do at each one of those? And what time should we know? What time is it close time? Is it right away? Is it 2 stages away? Is it, when is it? And how do we know? And how do we prevent ourselves from going down the stage to further stages if we haven't got everything we need? It's just, there's so much power in that process. And a lot of people, I think, just turn it over to a salesperson or an inside sales representative or whatever, how they're handling it. And that person probably doesn't really think about it in that process sequence. So they're having trouble with consistent results.
Exactly. And one of the keys is that first meeting is super critical. And I teach clients to send an agenda for that meeting, right? So, and because you're setting the expectations.
Yes.
You know what, Damon, I'm not calling you, meeting with you on the first meeting to close you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not what the agenda. The agenda is very simple. I'm going to tell you about my company. I'm going to learn about you. And we're going to have a discussion about what your goals are for the year and what challenges you have in my area of expertise, right?
Yeah.
I don't hear about your accounting issues, right? With regards to customer acquisition, sales, development, what are your challenges, right?
Yeah.
Is the team getting enough appointments every week, month? Are they meeting their sales goals? Are they doing enough prospecting? Are they going to networking events? How do you measure that? What are you satisfied with? What are you not satisfied with? Okay. And you have that conversation. And most people that I talk to will tell me that they have every company, every sales organization has problems with getting good leads and getting good appointments. I don't care what company, if you're selling Kleenexes to medical devices to hammers, it doesn't matter. I need to know how many appointments. Everybody wants to get those, as they just say on Glengarry, Glen Ross, those good leads. Give me the good leads. But you have to learn how to prospect to get those leads. So everybody needs that. And then everybody needs to understand what their process is. Is it 2 steps? Do you meet, propose, close, or do you meet one meeting and you come back and you do a deep dive, into the problem, and then you come back with a proposal, and then you have a proposal meeting? Because one of the things that I do know is that, and one of my biggest things I try to teach people, stop sending proposals via email. You are wasting your time, and the close rates on those is less than 3%. Why do we continue to do that? Well, that's what we've been told to do. I said, well, listen, here's what we're going to do going forward. You either have to meet them in person, or you go over the proposal on a Zoom call.
Yep.
Right? And if you explain to this prospect, listen, this is my process, okay? Once I get the information from you, I'm going to go back and put together a proposal. Oh, while you and I are meeting now, let's set that proposal meeting, okay? Because I'll have that proposal done in 3 days. Can we meet next Tuesday or Wednesday?
Yeah.
And you book that proposal meeting right when you're having your first meeting or the second meeting. But you always want to book the proposal meeting. Do not, trust me, ladies and gentlemen, your close ratio is going to skyrocket when you are able to present that proposal in person or on Zoom call. Why is that, Thomas? Because now you have the undivided attention, okay? You can reiterate why you guys are talking, what things they're interested in. You can look at their body language. You can get the questions that they have. You can also find out how decisions are made. So you got all this information versus you emailing the proposal, and all they look at is the last page, which is how much it is. And now they're like, oh my God, we can't afford that. And so then they ghost you.
Yeah.
You call them up, and you can't get them because they can't afford it. Trust me, if you do it this way, your proposal close rate is going to skyrocket.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And actually, it's something that I used to do, is send proposals, and you just realize that, listen, it's one of these things that you have to show it at the meeting or be there and go over it with them in person, because it is such a huge difference.
Yep.
Because honestly, people would look at something and go, wow, that's really expensive. But if you're there explaining it to them and they understand the effort behind it or the value it's going to create with what you're doing, that's a whole different conversation.
Yep. And we need to change the conversation from saying this is going to cost you to this is your investment.
Yes.
Right? Because they're buying your people buy my services because they want to invest in their people so that people can grow. So it's not a cost. There's a return on that investment, right? When you buy a car, that's a cost. There's no, but when you buy A house, that's an investment. You're buying because there's a return on the money that you're going to spend. So many times I have to retrain the people I work with to the verbiage.
Yeah,
Right?
that's a big deal too.
It's an investment, right?
Yeah.
They're going to buy a new software product and service because it's going to increase the efficiency, profits. Well, you can put a dollar amount to it. What does that mean for you? Bottom line, right? If it's going to increase your productivity 15%, what does that equate to in dollars, right? And so I'm constantly talking to people about, listen, talk to people about the word investment, because you're investing in this product or service because you want a return. Nobody buys anything in business just to have it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. Well, and you make a great point. In these things, first of all, process gets you consistency. I mean, if you're doing the same way every single time, if you know you're not landing the right amount of sales, you can adjust a step in the process to hopefully help. And then when you look at, so that's consistency. When you talk about the going over the proposal with somebody in person, if that increases your conversion rate of people actually buying from you, that's another huge boost, because first of all, we get consistency, and then we get more conversion. We can adjust our system to get more people that are interested and get more conversion in the same way. It's really cool when you get back to the fundamentals of that.
Yeah. And then you can also, if there's a breakdown, so I've had clients that says, at times I have a lot of proposals out, but I'm not closing any deals, right? So now you can kind of go back, right, and figure out where's the problem, what do we need to retune. And what inevitably I find most of the time is that in the discovery process, they latched on to the wrong problem. Right? They latched on to the wrong problem, and so that's one of the issues. But by figuring out where you are in the process, you can figure out, wow, how come I have so many proposals and nothing's closing?
Yes.
Right? And you could look at, I don't have many appointments. That impacts my proposals and closing. And so where do we need to go back and fix? And then we take a look at each one of those things to figure out, are we calling the right customer? Right?
Yes. Yes.
Are we talking to the decision maker or the influencer, right? And if it's proposals that we have a lot out there, then are we just putting out proposals just to put proposals out? Right? And so you get a chance to, and then with the follow-up, right? We always want to make sure that we're talking to our customers along the way to say, hey, hypothetically, if you found something that really worked, what would be a good lead time for you to implement this? They said probably a month or two. So now you know the sales cycle for that customer. So if it goes beyond 6 to 8 weeks, you got a problem. And you need to go back and figure out where the problem is in your sales process. Because they've told you that if they're going to do anything, it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks for a decision. We're at week 10 and nothing's happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's your discovery part of it. You're getting so detailed with discovery. That's really good information to know, because you could be, honestly, in some situations, like a client we were working with or just talking with them today, they have sometimes over a year lead time when they're talking for a project, from the time they actually get information, get a quote done, and they need to supply the product and services. It's over a year. And that's a big deal to understand how that's going to affect things.
Exactly. So and if you and most of the time those are big deals. Those are $100,000,
Mm-hmm.
$1 million deals, which in those cases there are a lot more people involved, right?
Yes.
Lot more decision makers, lot more people that got to sign off on that, right?
Yes. Yes.
And in those complex sales, one of the things that's very important is that you need to find out early on who the players are and what role they play and what's important to them. And you have to meet with each of them, okay, to talk their language. So if you're talking to the CFO, you have to talk financials
Mm-hmm.
and ROI and everything else. When you're talking to the users, they don't care about the finances.
Mm-hmm.
They want to know, hey, Thomas, is this going to make my life easier? Is this going to help me be more productive? I don't care how much it costs. I want ease of use, right? I want something that's going to make my job easy, right? But we have to make sure that we identify those roles and talk to those people only about what's important in their role, right?
Yes.
I mean, the CFO doesn't care how easy it is to use. He cares less about that. But
Mm-hmm.
he wants to know, what do the financials look like? What's my ROI, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much money do I have to put down to do this, right? And then you probably have in those complex deals probably 5 decision makers because they're going to make that decision as a group, and it's got to check off every box.
Yep. It's so important, like you said, to understand who you're talking to and their role in the decision or the buying process, because you can spend all your time with someone that you may really connect with, but they have nothing to do with the actual decision of, are we going to buy this from them or not? They can be the one that says, we need this.
Exactly.
And you have one of the solutions that can help. But if you're talking to someone, that's who you're talking to, and you really are trying to go to the point of, we need to close the sale because it's that point in our process. If you're continuing to talk to that person, the person making the decision is not even ready to go yet.
They may not even know you exist.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Even worse.
It's even worse, right? I mean, but that has happened.
Oh, yes.
You know, I've seen those that happen in complex sales situations. So
Yep.
I try to, when I'm working with clients, I really try to understand what they're selling, what it costs, because depending on the cost determines how many people have to sign off on this.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then we need to find out early in the process, who are those key people that you have to woo, right, to get a nod from, yeah, this works on my end, right? And and you have to do that early, because if you don't, you could spend a lot of time talking to people and doing proposals and nothing moves because you're talking to the wrong people.
Mm-hmm.
But we get excited. Business owners, sales reps get excited when the customer says, "Give me a proposal." It's like they hit a home run.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people a lot of times, people will tell you that to get you off the phone and get you out of the meeting. And I'll tell you a quick story here. Years ago, I was talking to a client, and I met him, and he was a VP, and him and I met, and he says, we're having a conversation. He says, give me a proposal. And I said, I don't really know what you want. And I don't have enough information to get, but I need basic sales training. But I said, I really need to know more information.
Mm-hmm.
And so he kind of shooed me off, right? And so I did not send him and then on top of that, he would not meet to go over the proposal. So I'm thinking, well, I'm not giving you a proposal. I'm not going to do it because, first of all, I don't know what you need.
Yes.
Right. And it's going to be wrong. and we're not going to have a deal, so I'm not going to do it. So 4 months later, I'm at an event and I meet two of his sales managers. And I say, hey, yeah, I spoke to so-and-so 4 months ago or so, and we kind of talked about things. So how's things going? I said, oh my God, Thomas, we really need training. I said, you do? I said, well, yeah. I said, can I set up a meeting with the both of you to kind of go over what you need, and then we can present that to the guy's name. Perfect. So I met with them for about 2 hours, got a really good understanding of what they needed, what they wanted.
Yep.
Presented the proposal to the VP, and because of these two gentlemen, they said, yeah, we want to do this.
Nice.
And so I ended up doing business with them. In hindsight, if I had given him the proposal that he would have sat on,
yeah,
and then I meet these two guys and give him another proposal, he would have said, well, how come you gave me two different proposals?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's a great point too. Yes. Yes. Yeah, because I didn't think about that. That would be another thing.
So it's always good to, sometimes the best thing is not to give somebody a proposal. Walk away until you have enough information that you can give a proposal that you think you can win. Because companies don't pay sales reps to generate proposals. They pay sales reps to generate wins. So it's not a proposal contest, right? It's a how many deals did you close contest.
Yeah. Yeah, not proposals. That's great. That's great. So one thing, and we're getting kind of close to the end, but I think this is a pretty important thing. How many times do you see when you're talking to somebody and you're helping them with sales process, do they actually understand their unique value in the market?
That is another good question. They think they know what it is, right? But they really do, because most of the products and services somebody else has, right? I mean, you're not the only person that's selling this particular product or service. And what makes you different, right? And people get stuck on, well, we have 20 trucks. That's great. I mean, what does 20 trucks mean, right? If I'm a plumbing company, what does 20 trucks mean? Right? And so they're so focused on the feature. But what is the benefit for you having 20? Oh, Thomas, that means we can get the most of our calls in an hour. I said,
there you go.
There you go. So when you're talking to customers, you can say, Mr. 90% of the time, because we have a large fleet of vehicles, we can get to your appointment in an hour. Okay, wow. That's no other companies can do it. Most companies don't do that. So we'll get there between 9 and 12. So you're there 4 hours, right? But if you can take what the trucks are and give the benefit.
Yes.
So I'm always taking what they think their benefit is. It's a feature. And I say, well, how does that benefit the customer? What is in it for the customer? Oh, we can get there earlier. You can get there to the customer. You can solve their problem quicker. Great. Then that's a benefit.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I try to talk to them about is they are the unbeatable advantage, right? Like in my world, me against everybody else that does sales training, I'm the unbeatable advantage. Me. It's me, right? It's the passion I have. It's the knowledge I have, right? It's the genuineness of wanting to help you be successful. That's my unique value, okay? So I always tell people, start with you, the individual. right? You, and then you talk about the benefits that your service provides, but it all starts with you. Listen, I'm always going to be on time. I'm always going to give you the highest level of customer service.
Mm-hmm.
And here's some documents that state that, and you give some customer testimonials and things that back up what you say, and that's your unique value proposition.
Yeah, that's huge advice. I just write tons of notes here from that, because that is one of the things that I think a lot of people skip completely over is that the people, that the person, the what is whether it's the the founder's vision of the company and why we do things the way we do, or the person and their individual nature of how they work, how, like you said, passion, their timeliness was another great one that you said, and they're caring for people to succeed is a huge thing. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And that's what people at the end of the day, that's what really matters is that people want to deal with people that are reliable, dependable, honest, ethical, and have their best interest at heart.
Yeah.
Right? Not to fill their pocketbook. Because I always tell people, I said, listen, I'm going to give you all of me. Okay. And no matter what you pay me, you're going to get more.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help it. Can't help it. Right. That's just who I am. And so, and you're going to also find that for my type of services, my prices are very reasonable because of the deep passion I have, for helping small businesses who don't have a lot of money, but need this type of service. And so I look at that and I go, how can I help them and help myself at the same time?
Yeah.
So you get more, than you pay for.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great way to explain it too, because that passion helps you to deliver that exceptional service far above, like you said, what you're actually getting paid for, because you want to help them, and that's really what you want to do and want to excel at personally.
And those people, we all know people that go above and beyond their call of duty. We all know those people, and us all the time. I have 2 handyman for my house. Both of these gentlemen are outstanding. They'll call me when they're on their way. Times I'll be there in 45 minutes. They call me if they're running late.
Nice.
When they show up, they're just professional, good people. So, and guess what? I share them with other people, right? I refer them. I say, hey, listen, this person, listen, how many people are going to call you when they're late in the home improvement industry? They like to show up whenever the hell they want to show up.
Yeah.
Right? Really, they want to show when they want to show up. And I'm saying, no. I have 2 people that are going to call you. I'm on my way. I should be there in 45 minutes. They're going to call you if they're late. When they get there, they're going to do maybe a little extra. Hey, I did this. I know I wasn't supposed to do that, but I did that because this happened or this, right? And those people are always busy.
Yes.
They're always busy,
yes.
Right? They don't have the highest prices. The prices are reasonable, but they do quantity of great service. And so I tell people all the time, no matter what business that you're in, if you provide outstanding customer service, and I mean every time you work with a customer, the customer gets a wow experience, right? You're going to have customers for life, and
Yeah.
they're going to refer you. And that's what I pride myself on. Everybody that I interact with, I want them to have a wow experience. Wow, this guy did more. I learned more than I would ever learn. Wow, 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 wow. Because those people are going to refer you to other people, and they're going to continually come back to you when they have issues.
Mm-hmm.
We all know companies that don't treat customers that way, and they're struggling. And
Yeah.
in this economy, right? If you're not taking care, if you're not wowing your customer, you're going to lose them, and you're never going to get them back.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. It's a huge thing because people have choices. They have choices. And people are used to getting good service on many things. And if yours is not up to the par, even if you're in an industry that's notorious for poor service, people still expect good service. And you just lost any referral business or future business from those people by not being, at least where you should be. Yeah, that's a huge thing. Well, Thomas, as usual, it is so awesome to talk to you. We could talk for a long, long time, but man, I just appreciate you stopping by today, talking a bit about the sales boot camp, how that really gets people going, but and not but and just sharing the fundamentals. I mean, it's so good to talk sales fundamentals with you because we get caught on the latest tech or whatever. And really it boils back, like you said, to the fundamentals. Because if we execute the fundamentals right, we will be successful in sales.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, if people want to reach out to you, Thomas, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
So the best way, there are several. Number one, you can find me on LinkedIn.
Yep.
The second way to find me is my email address is TELLIS at EWC Consultants with an S.com. And another way to reach me is by telephone.
There you go.
A tool, the most underutilized tool in the sales world, and the best tool you could ever move. Because I always tell people, a sale doesn't move forward unless you have some phone conversations.
Yeah.
So for those of you who would like to call me, and believe this or not, I answer my phone unless I'm in the training. Blows people's mind. So that's one of my unique advantages. I'm going to pick up my phone. My phone number is 301-343-0001. And I will be willing to talk with anybody that's on this call right now and give you a 30-minute free sales strategy session. Just mention that you were on this call and we'll make it happen. Awesome. Damon, thank you very much. It's awesome talking to you. We can talk forever and ever and ever and ever. And also, I have a book out. It's called B.U.D, Better, Unique, Desirable.
Yep.
The sales process that get results. And it's been out now for about 2 years, and you can find it on Amazon.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Thomas, thank you for being here today. I want to thank everyone listening out there. I can see the listeners online here. Thanks, Marius, there for dropping a comment in. And thanks all of you that got here and were listening with us today. If you got in late, go back to the beginning because Thomas shared a lot of golden nuggets about sales in general, sales process, the steps in sales, and why you may want to consider a sales boot camp if you want to amp up your sales abilities in a compressed amount of time. We're going to finish up offline for now. Thanks everyone for being here. Thomas will finish up offline and wind down.
Thank you.